And Western Mass News is your election authority. The 2020 election has seen a record turnout among young voters.
Here to talk more about why this is the case is an associate professor from UMass Amherst, Justin Gross, joining us now live. Justin, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. So we understand there's a greater turnout of young voters this year. What do the numbers look like compared to 2016?
It certainly looks like it. We won't know for sure, of course, for a few days, but we're already seeing a big jump in those that claim that they're going to be definitely voting. That's gone up by about 16%, according to some Harvard researchers. And we see early and absentee voting share up across most states, in some cases by doubling in places like Texas, Florida, North Carolina, and Georgia, which are obviously really important states.
To understand that if they don't vote.
And Justin, what is the driving the passion in young adults to get into politics and to go out there and vote?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with tumultuous times, certainly strong opinions about the top of the ticket, the president. There's also a real age gap, different views. I think maybe in more than any time since the 1960s, we're seeing a lot of young people who look at those who are representing them, who are older, and seeing people who maybe aren't as worried about things like climate change or racial justice. And then, of course, higher education policy and just growing debt and worry about the economy is of great importance to 18 to 29-year-olds.
It is very easy to get cynical despite being young. You know, people say, my vote just doesn't count. So if you have to speak to young adults, especially out there who haven't voted yet, why should they head to the polls right now? What can you tell them?
Absolutely. Well, whether we like it or not, policymakers, politicians, they pay close attention to data, and they often see a fairly low relative turnout from the young. That's starting to maybe change a bit. And the best thing that you can do in order to send a signal so that politicians pay attention to you and your concerns is to show up in larger numbers. And then it's, no better time to start civic habit. We find that folks who start while they're young voting, will vote for a lifetime. And it just feels great to do something concrete when you've been sitting at home and feeling a little bit helpless.
Justin, great point. It was certainly nice to be able to get out there and go vote today and make your voice heard in this election. Thank you very much for joining us today and for sharing your insight.
Well, thank you very much. You take
Justin,
care.
Thank you. Sure.